when you're hiking, a lot of people think of it as just simply being outdoors, experiencing the sounds of, the wilderness, birds chirping, being able to see wildlife, but, being on a trail. And you can be doing it with different, solo, you can be in with a group, you can, it really is such a flexible adventure really to go on. Hiking is a long, vigorous walk, usually on trails or footprints in the countryside. And then, walking is pleasure for a lot of people. We consider it hiking, but a lot of people call it in Canada and in the United States just walking, because you're outside and just you're actually, getting benefits from it, either, physical or mental, and you're being able to use your body to be able to move and be out in the outdoors. And there's just so many different types of hikes you can go on, and different types, like depending on where you are. You could be in anywhere. For example, I was in Hawaii hiking and had to go up a hill, and at the end of it was it was just so beautiful, very open and over the ocean. Or I could go to Ireland and be hiking to castles, and it's definitely different where it was more in more fuller, and it was rainy, and it was just a different experience. Also, like I said, and it's different on what people use the words as. For example, like I already said, Canada and United States uses the term walking, whereas in the UK, they will call it rambling or hill walking or even fell walking, which is mostly used in the northern England. And it all means the same thing, hiking. Or in Australia, which is my favorite, they call it bushwalking. And then close by, New Zealand call it something totally different, tramping. At the end of it, it means all the same thing. It just depends on where you are and what you're doing. There's also, different types of hikes you can go on, which I think most of us did for this class. We did a day hike. And so a day hike is where you're able to do it and it doesn't exceed the daylight hours. And I think for this class, the maximum was an hour and a half. So you would not be exceeding the daylight hours. You don't have to limit yourself just the trails or close by. But you're usually, doing it near your house so you can be able to make it. Then there's also summit hiking, which probably is my favorite type of hiking. I think it's it's not as easy as it used to be, so I don't know if it'd still be my favorite, but back when I was hiking a lot, which would be like hiking to the top of this, like the peak of a mountain, and just being able to oversee everything. Or there's long distance hiking. And so that's, going for a long distance. It's unlike a day trip. You can't just turn around and head home when you start to set. You are going for a long distance on the hike. There's different types of hiking too that you can go on. So like there's general trails, which I think is a lot what we went on for our hiking class, which is good for beginners to complete. You start to increase your endurance and be able to go for longer hikes. As I said, when you stop doing something too, like I used to love, there was a place called Angel Crest that was in the gorge that I don't know if I could go on now because my endurance is not what it was once. There's also stage trails. They're long enough to divide into stages with like rest stops in between. And so this one doesn't involve transportation, which means hikers have to return to the starting spot on foot. So you're going to different places. There's also technical trails, and those are notorious for like being more difficult. They include obstacles such as, rocks, roots, muds, water, loose trails, and steep climb. There's, also when you're hiking, there's just so many different things, that can be out on the ground too, which is considered for there, like the roots in the ground and overall. But And this is just what is hiking, and then we'll go ahead and provide you what the benefits of physical and mental are.